Hey friends, welcome to the Handyman Journey radio show. Coming to you live from the Handyman Journey studio in Everywhere, USA. Super excited for you guys to be here. This is an awesome edition, Halloween edition, very spooky, of the Handyman Journey live here with my buddy Jason Call. If you don't know who I am, my name's Alan Lee. This is Jason Call, and we hop on here about every 2 weeks. And talk a little business with you guys. I'm a handyman. I've run a handyman business here we're going on our 10th year, coming up next year. Jason Call is an awesome marketing guy specifically for the handyman industry. So we absolutely love the industry. We fell in love with it about 8-9 years ago. And now we basically spend our time helping people out with their questions. We're going to be bringing on some live callers today. So super stoked for y'all to be here. Jason, maybe you want to go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone listening here.
Yeah, I'm Jason, owner of Handyman Marketing Pros. We specialize in websites, SEO, AI optimization, good online marketing for small family-owned handyman businesses. I've been doing it for 8 years. I've been serving Alan's business for that same amount of time. So I've been with Alan and his marketing and as a friend for, like 10 years or 11 years. We originally met a small young adults group Bible study, and we started our entrepreneurial journeys around the same time. And as far as how we got in the handyman business, Alan was a mechanic, started his handyman business on the side. He, of course, as we had talked as friends, we knew all about his journey. And so I helped him with a basic website, marketing strategy. And it worked so dang well that Alan was pretty quickly hiring help, left his auto mechanic job. He thought he was rolling in dough, charging $50 an hour. And so then started Alan's journey of learning business and pricing and documenting all of it on YouTube. And, the time has flown, man. So all that to say, Alan, give our listeners a little snapshot of what honestly looks like today from, starting 10 years ago at $50 an hour, thinking you were just the richest man alive making a killing. What does honestly structure and pricing and team look like right now?
Yeah, man, that's some good stuff. And honestly, handyman has changed, hugely over the years. I remember I started up doing it part-time for about 3 months, and I went full-time in 2017. Just me and my Ford Ranger, my 98 Danger Ranger. Super fun back then, back in the day. We got a trailer shortly after that. Then basically in 2019, I was kind of like just swamped with work, had so much work. And therefore I stopped answering phone calls, to be honest. And I'm like, I just don't have time to answer these phone calls. Like I'm busy working. And I quickly got the reputation of like, hey, don't call Honestly Handyman because he won't call you back. And I saw that because someone asked for Handyman on Facebook, and one of my awesome clients recommended me, which I was like, awesome. But then I clicked on their comment, and someone had commented below them and said, no, don't call that guy. Don't call Honestly Handyman because he doesn't call you back. And I'm like, oh, that was like a gut check. So at that point, I really dug into like, what does business growth look like? And how do I serve my clients well? Because doing good handyman work is one thing, but like managing the whole business side of everything is a whole nother side of it. And so I started digging into that, read the E-Myth Revisited, and just fell in love with this idea of like building systems and processes. And I hired my first employee in 2019. And then it's been awesome since then. Now we have, I think we have 5 employees. And then me as well, being kind of like the COO. So it's pretty cool now. I don't really spend a whole lot of time in the actual shop or in the field doing a whole lot of anything, but I'm kind of managing stuff. I'm managing the financing, the marketing, things like that. And then it gives me a lot of time to, do other things. I spend most of my time talking to other handyman business owners, helping them basically do the same thing that I did, grow their business. So that's been really fun. And Jason and I also just partnered up, and we built a Handyman Champion, a CRM for the handyman industry. So we've been doing a lot of fun things. It's just, I'm super stoked about the future. Although it was super fun back in the day with me and my Danger Ranger. So I'm really stoked for kind of what thing has for it. So I do want to give like a little lay of the land for this call here. This call is open to anyone. If you guys want to chime in fact, we need you guys to chime in the comment section. So if you guys are tuning into this video, I want you to drop a comment in the chat section right now. Let us know what your name is, where you're located, and what your business name is and how long you've been in business. We would absolutely love to hear from you. And any questions you guys might have for me, or Jason, business, marketing related, or, not really like Jason said earlier, not like what type of laundry detergent I use, but like, business or marketing, right? And then as we get closer to the end of the call, we may have an opportunity for you to actually call in live to this video. We'll see if we get to that or not. So if you're interested in that, drop a comment, maybe with your question in the comment section. Be like, I'd love to call in live. This is my question. And we might give you an opportunity for that. But we're gonna have a handyman come in here in about 2 or 3 minutes. But Jason, should we do our icebreaker thing that we were talking about?
Oh gosh, yeah. Producer Lee had some question for us that we don't know, so that could be fun.
Yeah.
Shout out to Fisco Brian, 30-year handyman in the game, man. Congratulations. Longevity is to be a handyman, to be in a business, any business is one thing, but to be around for 30 years, hats off to you, man. That's awesome. Farmer Mac, my guy Richard, what's up, dude?
Mac,
thanks for tuning in. He was on the we did a webinar on how to get recommended by AI a couple days ago. So Mac, thanks for joining that too, man. You're the dude. Let's see, Dave, the neighborly handyman, 8 years in business. I believe Dave is the one that's going to be giving us a buzz here in a minute. Thank y'all.
I think they're both neighborly handymans. Wait, no, that is Dave. You're right. Okay. Yeah, that's Dave. Sorry.
You're good. Are we waiting for Dave to call?
Or we could bring Lee on. Like, there's a background person just to give us a quick icebreaker. What do you think? Oh boy, there she is.
It's Halloween, so okay, it's me. All right, my question: if all you had right now was $300 and a dream, how would you use it towards starting a handyman business?
Good question, Lee. Thank you. A little backdrop on Lee too. Her dad is a handyman, Carl Armbrust with the Lynchburg Handyman out of Lynchburg, Virginia. And that's how actually we got connected with Lee. So if Carl is out there, or Lee, you could let your dad know. Thank you for plugging us, getting us together. She's so amazing, does a lot for our marketing and producing here. Alan, I'll let you lead the way. That's a great question. And I know we get that question a lot. Like, I have this much money to invest in my marketing. What should I do? I think let's frame this one as, $300. Let's just look at like you're a base floor. What would you do with $300 a month, Alan, to get your business off the ground?
Yeah, I think that it kind of stems from a common misconception that you have to have a crap load of money to start a business, right? And the handyman business is kind of unique in a sense that it's a very low cost of entry. At least, if you do it it depends, right? So, so for me, if I was to start a business, it depends, right? Do I have a Danger Ranger or not? Right? Like, do I have a Danger Ranger? Do I have some automotive tools? Like, what does it look like? Lee says, no, I don't have a Danger Ranger. Okay. I don't have a vehicle. All I have is a bicycle. Okay. So if I have a bicycle, I'm going to and I got $300. Say I don't have any tools at all, but I know how to do handyman stuff. Like, maybe I hit a hard spot in life and all I got is a bicycle, no tools. I'd take that $300, and I'd go to some yard sales and I would pick up some commonly needed handyman tools, right? To start offering my handyman services. And maybe even when you go to the yard sales, ask them if they need handyman work done. I don't know. This is kind of crazy. It's kind of like, but whatever. And I would just start doing handyman jobs for people. Like, you don't need to have everything. You don't need to have everything polished. You don't need to have everything figured out. Show up in a bike if that's all you got. But try and be as professional as you can. Maybe wash your bike before you show up. Put on some of your nicest clothes and, just make it happen. And then obviously like create the free stuff that you need to do like online. Like you create a free Google business profile. You could create a free, some free websites out there and just start getting your name out there. Like maybe you could even name yourself the bicycle handyman. You could like roll off of that niche. So I don't know. I don't know, Jason. What do you think?
I'll give my answer after we get David on here. We got David calling in to follow up on the bicycle handyman. So we'll wait a second here for David to get connected for our first live caller of the day.
Yeah, good. Coming to us live from Jacksonville, we have David Trego with the Neighborly Handyman. How you doing, David?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Hey, we're doing good, man. Doing good. So thank you so much for coming on today. Super excited to have you. You are our very first caller here this morning. I'm trying to be like Dave Ramsey, like coming to us live from Jacksonville. So I was go ahead and introduce yourself, David. Like how long you been in business? What's the name of your business? And what kind of work do you love doing?
So I've been in business for 8 years. My business is the Neighborly Handyman. It's just me and my best friend. He joined me about 4 years ago. We do mostly carpentry work, but also assemblies, installations, and stuff. But we love the carpentry work most of all.
And are you in Jacksonville, Dave?
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, it's a big city, but where we're at is mostly historical homes.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I know we work with someone in Mobile, Alabama, and historical homes is like a whole kind of niche within itself as far as the expertise and experience required. So really interesting kind of variable there that most don't deal with. So thanks again for coming on, man. What kind of question did you have for us?
So my question is, if a client calls and they got a whole punch list of items that are assemblies or installations, like paper towel holders, curtain rods, piece mounting, and assembly furniture, and you give them a day or two, and then but it's a long list and they all want it done on one day. How would you go about wording to them that this is all that we can get done within this day, or without any issues arising, like like when it's time to when it's the end of the day to collect payment for the end of the day? How do you go about that if like not everything was able to get done because they're either adding stuff on or there's complications throughout the job, there's other people working in the same space?
Gotcha. I'll relay the question here, and I'll pass it to Alan. So the general issue / question is Dave's using like a day rate to quote like a whole laundry list of like a punch list, a honey-do list, a classic kind of handyman list, right? And quotes a day rate to the client. So the question is like, what do you do if it can't be done in that day from complications, unexpected things come up? What do you think, Alan?
Yeah, so it's an interesting perspective. And, that's one of the main reasons why we don't recommend charging kind of by the hour. I mean, in a sense, that's what it is. Like charging a day rate is kind of by the hour. And because you get people kind of valuing you based on how quick you can work or how quick they think you should work. And so oftentimes that's when like discrepancies come up is, when they're like, oh, that's all you got done in an 8-hour day. And it's like, well, yeah, like, this was going on. I had to go out and get my tools. Like, they don't like people who hire us. They don't have the same mindset as like what it takes to accomplish handyman jobs. So I think that's from my understanding, maybe I'm understanding it incorrectly, but like you're telling someone, hey, this is a day rate. And I think we could do all this in a day. And you go there and you only get, say, 3/4 of the work done in a day. Like, how do you explain that to the client? And I think that, it's just that, like, you have to be very clear on, hey, this is a day rate. I'm not quoting you for all these projects. I'm not saying I'm going to get everything done. I think I could get everything done, but I don't know. But this is a time and materials type situation. For me personally, you know, what I like doing is breaking everything down to basically there is a back end like hourly rate that you need to know to like what it costs to run your business, how much profit you need, etc. And let's just say that's $100 an hour, right? And if you have a whole punch list that it's going to take you about 8 hours to do, then that's about $800, you know, roughly. And if that ends up taking you longer than a day, then you're just going to have to come back the next day and kind of eat it. So there is a give and take to both, because charging hourly, like you are getting what you want to get every hour that you're actually there, but you have the potential of the client kind of judging you or misjudging you based on how quickly they think you should work. And then also maybe holding you back a little bit further and not fully accomplishing everything. So there's just like, it leaves room for some angst rather than just being like, okay, this is what you have. It's going to be, you know, a set amount, $800. That's kind of like my take, but Jason, I'd love to hear your thoughts and what you think about that.
Yeah. So to respect the question, I'll certainly answer it, but absolutely, like as much as you can charge by like project. So you were putting a price and a value piece on getting an item done rather than, you know, putting value on the time. But all that to say, empathetic that a whole laundry list of honey-do list items can be really challenging to quote by the like replacing the switch or whatever these whole list of long, short items might be. So in my opinion, firstly would be making really clear in that quote of like, things happen, things will come up, things could be delayed and not go as planned, and it could take us longer. And so making that clear up front with the client. Two, if things do not go as planned, and Dave, you're like, oh shoot, like this isn't going to happen today. This is going to be another 2 hours of work. I would approach the client right away with truth, transparency. Alan alluded to that. Of like, hey, we're not gonna be able to finish this all today because of X, Y, and Z. Like make that really clear with the client. And then kind of at the end of that, it's a tricky situation of, from the client perspective, if I put myself in the client shoes and someone quoted me, which our handyman does this actually, our handyman actually says for this kind of stuff, he just charge by the hour. That's what he does. But if the homeowner's left at the end of the day and everything's not done, I'd be kind of upset, especially if I had to pay for another 2 hours, because you told me that you were pretty confident it could get done. Even though if you fully explained it, I'd be kind of disappointed. And because the price that I was expecting is now going to be more. And so then it's a tricky spot of, regardless if the job cannot get done in that day, whether you charge them or you don't charge them and you come back for a few hours, which obviously isn't really scalable business pricing, the client is kind of left a little bit upset, whether they have to pay more or, oh, I was not expecting them to come back tomorrow morning. I know, you know, when you have family, if you have pets or whatever it may be, you kind of plan for the contractor, the handyman to be in the house. And so for me, it all leads back to doing your darndest to charge by the project as best as possible. With the last caveat, you know, Alan talks about a day rate being really exceptional for commercial clients because they're less focused on all these, like the value for the time so much as I'd love to have a handyman in here for a day to get whatever the heck they can get done. So it is a tricky problem, David. Yeah. I'm empathetic of like, we're not trying to sit here and say, you got to change your whole business model and pricing, but what can be done to transparency into the equation to at least alleviate that for the client?
Yeah, that makes complete sense. For this example, it would be for a commercial client.
Oh, what it is for a commercial client. Yeah. Shoot, I guess that opens up another thing too of Alan. For your commercial clients, what kind of communications or expectations are you setting? Like, are you making it clear, like we're going to get it done? Are you telling them, I think we can get this much done? Like, how does that communication work with a commercial client?
Yeah, so that's a great question. That does change things a little bit because for commercial clients, or even, I mean, we have, I guess those would be classified as commercial. when those people hire us, we do tell them, and the way that we tell them is, hey, it's $1,400 for a day, right? Like we don't even talk about what work we're going to do that day. We just say, hey, it's $1,400 a day, and you can have whatever you need for us to do that day, and we're going to come do it, right? So like start working on a punch list, and the more organized the client is on like what needs to be done, the more we'll get done. But we never promise. Like let's just say a commercial client calls up, they got 5 different suites, and they all need to be painted. And we don't say, okay, I think I can accomplish all 5 of those suites in a day. Just say, this is what our day rate is, and we're just going to go for it. So that's kind of how we attack it. But then some people might say, okay, well, I have 5 suites. Like, how many days am I looking at here? Right. So you do have to kind of come up with something like that. But you got to be, it's a very tricky thing here, because you're talking about like, what's it actually going to cost versus like a day rate. So you say, well, I'm thinking it might take, 2.5 days, but it might take 3.5. Like, just like give them a span there. So I think it really breaks down to communication and how to be clear about expectations. Like maybe instead of saying, yeah, this is your list and I think I could get it done in one day, be like, I think I could get it done in one day, but it might go a day and a half. Like just give them that extra caveat, kind of like thinking about, ceiling fans, right? So people call us up and they want us to replace a light fixture with a ceiling fan. We always tell them, yeah, we could do that, no problem. But I got to also tell you that there are 2 different types of ceiling boxes. There's a ceiling fan rated box and a light rated junction box. And if you have a light rated junction box, we're going to have to replace it with a ceiling fan rated junction box. And we give them a price for that. So we put that on the estimate. And then we say, if we pull that light fixture down and it's got a ceiling fan rated box up there, we're going to take that off the estimate. Like no big deal. But they know what the additional cost is going to be just because we've encountered that before. So we're putting that hedge up just for protection. So that's what I would say is like, I think this could take me a day, but it might take me a day and a half. Like so you're setting that expectation. I don't know, that'd be my kind of thought.
Yeah. What do you think, Dave? Like what were your solutions that you were kind of thinking?
Well, what Alan said, that makes complete sense. And I think it makes sense, how the commercial aspect changes everything, because residential clients, I don't do day rates. We do by the job, by the item.
Okay.
With commercial clients, it's like a little different. So that pretty much clarifies it up, setting the right expectations and everything.
Yeah. And, someone actually put in the comments here that their struggles having a conversation with the customer during the initial walkthrough, like to kind of understanding what their expectations were of like, what does that day look like? So yeah, I would just encourage you to like, what more expectations can you maybe establish with the client during the estimate process? Also, what additional expectations can you load onto that estimate as far as like a big asterisk that says, hey, things happen. It's a property. This is real estate. We might get held up on any one of these items for any number of reasons. So overall, I think injecting more expectations, transparency, and just, upfront truth with if things will go delay, just letting the client know right away, to everyone be on the same page. And if they already knew that upfront, like, hey, this could happen because it's property. This is what we do. When you open up drywall, for example, you just don't know what's going to be on the other end. And so that would be kind of my overall thing, is just what expectations could be added like in the estimate process, and that more upfront disclaimer of like, hey, things could take longer than usual.
Okay.
But yeah, not the perfect. It is always tricky when it's by the day. I think I certainly believe that the day rate for commercial clients, while there's going to be commercial clients where that works great, but I also think you're opening up to commercial clients where that might not be great, because every owner is different. Every commercial client is different. Do they have a big budget from corporate that they rarely use on maintenance because they just don't have a handyman ever? Or is it a small mom and pop shop that they're very much in tune with how much this is going to cost? And so, that commercial day rate I don't know if it's the most scalable for every single business. Would it work great for your Dollar General and your Verizon store contracts? Absolutely. Is it going to work for like the local print shop, the mom and pop like restaurant? Maybe for some, but not for all. So it might be a good, reason to look at the overall pricing structure of commercial, or maybe the types of commercial clients that you service. But overall, when you add truth to the whole conversation and expectation setting, the people that aren't going to be a good fit are going to kind of identify themselves, and the people that are going to be a good fit, they're going to move forward.
Yeah, I think that's good stuff. David, thank you so much for coming on, man. It was great having a conversation with you. Yeah, I love that, Jason. I think, one of my last things, that I want to say about that is I do like your kind of differentiation, however you say that word, of like, is it a good fit for the right commercial client? Because there are many different types of clients out there, and it's good to pinpoint that, right? You can't just blanket, oh, they own a business, so it's commercial, right? They're all the same. Like there's a big difference between a mom and pop shop versus like a Verizon, right? Because a Verizon is like corporately held. They have a budget every year, whereas a mom and pop, they're literally scraping by, right? They're hoping like that next haircut comes in so that they can pay you. So yeah. I think that's a very important differentiation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Dave, thanks for coming on and for the question, man. You remind me a lot of a client we serve in Mobile called John Rand, the Handyman, has a huge focus on commercial work. You could check out his website, maybe for some inspiration on their phrasing that they use for commercial clients. They very heavily put photos up of like Belk and like the big box chains rather than kind of the local stuff. So that's their primary market for that. So just like homeowners, not every commercial client might be a great client. But great conversation there. Love that.
Yeah, definitely. So we had a couple questions come in. Do we want to try and take a live caller? Like just put it out there?
I'm up for it. One last thing, if Dave is still tuning in, because I looked him up, Neighborly Handyman in Jacksonville, your primary Google business profile category is contractor. If you update that to Handyman, you are going to see a significant bump in visibility and rankings and very tangible increase in calls. No website hooked up to it. So if you do have a website, make sure that's linked. But I encourage you to update that category to Handyman. People are they're not searching for contractor. If they are, they're searching for remodeling contractor. There's some searches for general contractor, but remodeling contractor is the biggest contracting search. And that's obviously for remodeling contractors. So highly recommend anyone listening, and to Dave especially. He's got 91 reviews on Google in Jacksonville, Florida. Great market. Just simply updating your primary business category on your Google profile is going to drastically increase the visibility you'll get for handyman related queries. It is the #1 keyword, and that primary Google category is the biggest variable that you can control as an owner for your rankings, whether it's handyman, remodeler, whether it's gutter cleaning service, drywall contractor. The primary category is the biggest influencer, and for most businesses tuning into this, it should be handyman, with relevant secondary categories. Like in the secondary area, you can add contractor, you can add remodeling contractor, you can add drywall contractor, etc. But just a pro tip there for Dave, that'll be a huge help to your Google presence.
Yeah, dude, totally. And I do want to drop this because I know that Jason won't. Jason just led an awesome webinar for his marketing agency, like telling us exactly what we need to do to help us get recommended on AI. So some awesome stuff. And Jason's actually doing another webinar here in December. So I think we're working on, maybe Lee's going to put a banner up here on how you guys can sign up for that. If you guys have never been to one of Jason's webinars, you need to sign up. It's completely free. And he gives you some like basic nuts and bolts, just like that little nugget of things that we can do to kind of move that ticker every single day to help us get seen better by Google, seen better by AI. And Jason, you did a fantastic job on your last webinar. So if anyone out there is listening, the next webinar is December 10th, and you can get signed up at handymanmarketingpros.com/webinars. Completely free. And yeah, you'll thank us for mentioning that, because it's going to be some awesome content. So good work on that, Jason.
Thanks, Alan. Yeah, the subject of that webinar, guys, is going to be really actionable. It's going to be your 2026 marketing plan. So of course, we're going to look at online stuff, but it's not just going to stop there, because the best marketing is comprehensive. So overall, at the end of the day, we're going to have a great checklist, like a worksheet that you'll be able to quickly identify what you're doing, what you're not doing. And on the list of what you're not doing, what really speaks to you with your skill sets, with your resources, whether it's time, investment. So December 10th is when we're going to be running that. It is 100% free if you want to attend live. We run it on Zoom, and we have great questions that were in the chat. We had tons of our clients and all kinds of people in there learning about how to get recommended in AI. You can also see the replay of that there. So anyway, we'd love to see you there December 10th to kind of get planned for next year. But thanks so much, Alan. Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, man, I love it. I love it. And so let's put it out there right now. If you want to call in live, we're going to try that. We've never done this before. This is our very first time putting it out there. If you want to call in live, give us a call right now. The number is on the screen, 541 area code 247-1608. Call us right now. You'll talk to our producer, Lee. She'll give you the runaround. Make sure that you're not going to spam us or anything like that. But if you have a question, seriously, Richard McGuire, we're out there, anyone, right? Just come on out. And yeah, if you have a problem, if you have a question, call us right now, 541-247-1608. We would absolutely love to hear from you. So while we're waiting for you to call, there's a few kind of questions that came in here. Roy Erickson. Did you already talk about the Roy Erickson one? Right now, my struggle is having a conversation with the customer during the initial walkthrough to understand their mindset on what they have in mind as to their budget. What do you think about that, Jason?
So you don't really need to you need to mostly understand your pricing, because your pricing is not going to change based on their budget. What you are going to do, or what they might have you do, is obviously going to be affected by their budget. But come in there and doing the numbers, get the Handyman Pricing Handbook on Amazon that Alan wrote. It's like $10, and Jeff Bezos gets $9.99 out of that, and Alan gets a penny. So anyway, all that to say, it's truly just there for a helpful resource. Having confidence in your pricing, knowing I need to charge arbitrary numbers here. Let's just call it $100 an hour for simple math. I know I need to charge $100 in labor hours so that I can feed my family, pay my bills, and make a profit that makes this whole business endeavor worthwhile, or else I might go back to being an auto mechanic, right, Alan? So the struggle there, I think that you'll have a lot of peace, Roy, by having confidence in your pricing, in the value that you provide, and it'll alleviate that anxiety of oh gosh, are they gonna want to pay this price I'm going to give them? But if someone does have a budget, of course, whatever you can do, just give your professional your professional guidance. I do this all the time. This is what I have, and this is where that budget's best going to serve you. So what are the most important items that you could help them with? That would be my response there, Roy. What do you think, Alan?
Yeah. So very similar. Before I hop into that, I want to ask people watching this, have you guys called us yet? We're waiting for a live caller right now. So feel free to give us a call, 541-247-1608. We'd love to bring you on live here on the Handyman Journey Show. But yeah, so my thought is, you're 100% right, Jason. You got to figure out what your hourly rate needs to be. And you're going to charge that no matter what. You can't lower your price just because someone else needs you to lower their price. That's not good business, right? This is a business, not a charity. So I think what you need to do is you need to figure out what your price needs to be, and then create systems that help you figure out where your ideal client is, and if the people you're talking to are your ideal client. Because if you dig deeper, into the coaching side of things and talking about sales, there's two different sales paths you could go on. There's the client sales path, which they're going to run you around ragged, just kick your tires, trying to figure out what your lowest price can be. Or there's your sales path. That's you actually take the client on so that you can basically deliver them what they're looking for the quickest possible, which is what is it going to cost and when can you do it? So how can you get there quicker so that you don't waste your time if they're not your ideal client? You don't waste your time, you don't waste their time. So really, you need to figure out what are the key things that you need to ask people that will show you or give you a good idea if they are your ideal clients, if they're worth going to that next level of having an in-person consultation with. If you go out there and tap dance for every single client trying to get the job, you're going to end up working for dirt cheap. And you're not going to be getting very good reviews because of it, because you're working for the wrong people. You're not going to be creating the brand that you want to create. So some of the to give you an example, some of the questions that we ask people to kind of weed them out. And we're not coming from a place of like, hey, I don't want to work for you unless you live in $1 million house. I'm not coming from that place. I'm coming from that place like, I respect my clients and I want them to respect me as well. Right. So it's like, it's a two-way street. I don't want to work for people that don't respect the work that I do. Just like people wouldn't want me to work, for them if I don't respect them and their household and their family. So, we ask things like, where are you located? When are you looking to have this work done? And then we have a minimum as well. Right. So that kind of weeds people out as well. So the way that we've designed that is like, our service area is because we only want to travel so far, right? That's one of it. But the other one is like our service area is built because they are predominantly our ideal clients. Like we don't go into certain areas just because they have older homes. Like things tend to go a little bit more wrong because the houses were built in the 50s or whatever, and they just happen to be kind of lower income people and they aren't in a position to pay what we need to make for our business and what our hourly rate needs to be. And that's perfectly fine because I have contacts, I have handymen that are actually in those lower income areas that do really, really high quality work. They can charge a lot less because they just don't have the same overhead that I do. So it's really, it's a win-win, right? Like if I'm not going to work well with someone, there's someone else that will work well with them. And how can we connect them with that person? So I think that those are kind of my thoughts. I don't know if that answers it, but Jason, did that stir up anything else in your mind or?
No, it looks like Roy commented exactly. So I hope that was helpful, Roy. It's a great thought, man. It's a great question. And anyone, and depending, I don't know where you are in your business, but anyone out there listening to that's newer, the lowest prices you're going to charge is when you're first getting started. And also anyone first getting started too, like you're nervous of like, gosh, like I want to give them a price that they're going to pay because I want this job. I'm trying to build my experience, my reputation, maybe get some reviews, trying to figure out my own business. Maybe you don't have much traction going yet. So, there's this economic term like pricing on the margin. Like what is the kind of the absolute minimum you need to price to make it worth your while? And when you're first getting started, you're pretty dang close to that margin, if not underneath, where you're kind of losing some money. And that's okay to build a reputation, build experience, but to be working up above that, you can't be concerned about someone's budgets. You should be concerned about pre-qualifiers and making sure you're not wasting time on the job or on an in-person estimate. So I do love those thoughts, Alan, but want to toss that out there as well for anyone that's new. It's okay to not feel like you're charged. Like I should be charging $100 an hour. You got to start somewhere. So give yourself some grace, but as you get busy, as you get traction, you have to start leveling up, raising your prices, meeting your profitability goals, and ultimately serving your household, your family. That if your goal is to hire a team, you get more overhead like Alan, where their minimum is about $200 just to come out for an hour. But they're serving a very select kind of clients that really value that professionalism and the relationship that they have with Honestly. So really great question there, Roy. Yes, that helps. Awesome, man. And that's the point of these lives is like, we'd love to hear questions and struggles because we might not have all the answers, but we can at least hash it out and maybe give some inspiration and ideas. Another comment that came in from Richard McGuire. Did you standardize your quality control with written procedures, or did you rely on field training and ride-alongs to build the same experience tech to tech? Awesome question. So this is related to hiring. How do you ensure that the people you're hiring are doing the quality that you would yourself for the client in both service, like relational, but also the quality of the work output? Alan, what do you think on that? The balance of procedures, quality control, written procedures, on-the-job training, ride-alongs. How do you ensure standard quality at honestly handyman from tech to tech.
Yeah, I love this. And I love what Richard wrote here is that I want our service to be like opening a can of Pepsi. Every time you open it, it's going to taste like a Pepsi. Like, I love that. I love that because that's the key to this whole thing, right? Is how can you make every single tech that's not you, when they show up, it feels like you're showing up, right? How do you do that, right? And it's funny, we lead coaching calls all the time. And through our coaching call that we led this week, I actually opened up our systems and our processes for our CSR and our technician and kind of shared it with the guys. And we're having this conversation. So it's really cool. This is something that's near and dear to my heart. Like I said, back in 2019, I fell in love with systems and processes, and that's what it's all about. That's how you create, that feeling, right? When they open up a can, right, it tastes like a Pepsi, right? Because that's what you want them to feel like. So we should be sponsored by Pepsi. Just thought of that. So I think the thing is when you before you ever hire someone, you have to fully document every single thing that person does so that they emulate not only me, not only you as the owner, but the ethos of who you are and what you present. And really what that is, that's through scripts and systems and SOPs. And the way that I kind of explain it in our coaching is you're wearing all the hats, right? You're building the house, you're answering the phone calls, you're answering the emails, you're following up with people, you're sending out birthday cards, you're sending out Christmas cards, you do it all. You wear every single hat. Well, you need to figure out first what hats exist in your business and what hats will exist in your business when it's all done. And what I mean by that is when it's ready to sell, when it's ready to franchise, or when it's ready to just run without you. What are the hats? What are the positions in your company that exist? And you're going to have a COO that's you're going to have a CSR, you're going to have an estimator, you're going to have a technician, you're going to have a technician assistant, you're going to have a marketing guy, whatever it is. So you need to, before you hire someone, let's say it's a technician, you need to take off every single hat that you wear and put on just the technician hat and be okay, and document every single thing that you do as a technician. Show up at the client's house, right? Ring the doorbell. Take off sunglasses, right? You don't have your sunglasses on, right? If you have messy hair, put a hat on. When the client answers, this is how you greet them. These are the exact words you say. Oh, by the way, Mrs. Jones, I parked out there in front of your house. Is that an okay spot to park? Right? Document that. And then when she says, yeah, that sounds great. Come on in. Let me show you the stuff. Okay, Mrs. Jones, I just got to put on my booties real quick. Put on the booties. Very respectful, the exact things that you do. When you do a drywall repair, what are the things that a technician does when he does the drywall repair? Does he set up, drop cloths and wall sheeting? What does it look like, right? What kind of dust collection do you have in your company so that when your technician delivers a product to the client, it's just as if you were delivering it as well. So it is very much documentation, but it also needs to be followed up with actual quality control checking. So especially when you hire your first technician, you need to be the one going out there in person with them just to make sure that they're adhering and that they learn and understand all the procedures. But once you create that culture, from what I've seen, when you hire more people, hopefully that guy with the good culture will rub off on the other people and they will understand that that's the culture they need to uphold. So it's kind of a process of osmosis at that point, but it needs to be very detailed and systematized in your SOPs. That's at least my train of thought. What do you think, Jason?
Yeah, I think you nailed it on the work output, right? Now, I think a huge part of this being successful happens before you even hire somebody, because you need to hire the right people. So a Pepsi tastes like a Pepsi. It looks like a Pepsi. It's got the branding. It's got the can. It's got the fizziness, level of carbonation. So you got to look at the culture too. What kind of culture are you leading in your business? And that's something that we all take for granted because we live our own culture as an owner operator. But then as you start to hire people, you need to define that. What are the core values of your company? How do you show up every single day? How do you treat your clients? How do you treat your team? So establishing core values, bigger expectations of how someone's character should be. I'm not saying everyone has to be super hippy dippy, I love you kind of thing. And they could be stern, but you need to define what's important in your company from a character standpoint. Are you hiring people? Like, are you letting them know in the interview process, like how, like, do you care, like truly care to provide someone a great quality service, like digging into the core values, the character of people. So I think there's also really great homework to be done for most business owners to create your own core values that you would like to hold people accountable to. And you're going to be able to use that to pre-qualify your candidates, your core values and how you compensate them, how you treat them, how you lead them, how you treat your clients. You are going to be inherently a filter yourself, where when someone interviews you, they see your company, your processes, your expectations, your core values. The bad fits are going to be like, I don't really jive. Like, one of our core values is love. It's kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
But it's really important for us to love each other and love our clients through our work. And the people that freaks out, they're naturally going to be kind of like revealing themselves, right? They might not get down with like, oh, I don't know, I'm just kind of here to get a job. It's like, that's fine. We're not the company for you. Like we want something deeper, this authentic care for people. So that's just one example of the branding around the Pepsi, right? It's the taste, is come down to the processes and their quality of their work. But what about their character? The bigger picture things that ultimately, I think, allow owners to step back and let your people do the work. Let the cooks do the cooking. They need to align with your core values and your expectations you have for them as people. So that would be my one addition.
That's a really good point, Jason. I like that, because like, even if you're taking the Pepsi example, right? Like, what are their core values? And what if some guy that they just hired at Pepsi found that that there was this certain ingredient that they found that was cheaper. It was a different type of ingredient, but it did virtually the same thing. It was cheaper, but it made it taste a little bit different, right? Like, they're like, no, that goes against who we are. It's not a Pepsi at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
It tastes completely different. It tastes like a Dr. Pepper or something like that. So it's like, when you know who you are and the core values that you have, you're not going to sacrifice the integrity of that just to save a couple bucks, because you know who you are, right? You're not going to be like, well, we could get away with not wearing booties, right? But it's like, well, no, that's not who we are. Like, we need to buy the booties. We need to get it done. So I think that's an interesting thought, is that the core values are where it starts. And like, so really it comes down to like, what makes you, right? Not like beyond just the work and everything like that. Like, why do people love you? What is it about you that they love? And how can you replicate that feeling? More than just the work is definitely needed. And that's because, like, if someone botches a drywall job or gets dust all over the house or whatever it is, that's going to change a lot of things. But I think it starts with like the core of who you are and what makes you, and then how do you duplicate that, you know?
Yeah, and conversations around those topics too are going to bring out conversations and attributes from candidates that you otherwise wouldn't uncover by just talking about the work, talking about family, their life experiences. Using this example of one of our core values of love, we're actually just interviewing somebody, and the question was, and someone doesn't have to feel like they need to kiss somebody or something weird, but like just this authentic, deep compassion, right? And asking this candidate, like, one of our core values is like loving others, like in business, in service. Like, what is an example that you can like relate to in your life of like, what do you think about that? What's an example of how you've exhibited that in your life and your business? And it brings out these conversations and these topics that reveal someone's true character. You're peeling back the layers. It's just like any friend, any relationship, that the more you hang out with them, the more you get to know them, the more you get to know who they are as people. And so the more definition you have around your company, not only what you do, but how you do it and the heart of it, you're going to start peeling back layers from candidates and weeding out ones that don't have the right character. You can't trust them to show up every single day on time with a smile on their face, taking great care of your clients. Sure, they could paint a room in like record time with like, impeccable quality. But these conversations around the deeper attributes of your company and your expectations are going to peel back layers that allow you to identify not only people that do great work, but also are great people that align with your culture and are a natural fit with your company long term. And the last point I'll make here is long term. If Richard, we haven't bored you to death yet, man. Anyone that's hired people knows that it's expensive when it doesn't work out. You lose all the investment in training, all the actual resources and money that went into paying them. You're then kind of left in the lurk with a little bit of chaos and making up for a lack of labor hours in your business. It's no longer there because someone left. So short-term employees, bad fit employees are really, really costly to a business. And so when you have this branding around the Pepsi, how it looks, how it feels, and how it tastes, you're going to have a higher success rate of long-term employment that is going to be a really profitable investment because you've got somebody that cares about you, about your company, about your clients, and they show up and do amazing work. And it's the most beautiful thing when you can let them cook. So a big part of that is the defining your values and the company culture and exhibiting that yourself.
I love that. So there's one more question here. We got to get going here in about 5 minutes, but I do want to, before we get to this question, I want to let you guys know about our podcast. The Handyman Success Podcast is the #1 rated handyman podcast in the world. I don't know if that's true or not. I might have just
It's not true.
It's not? Okay. Well, we could go with that.
In the handyman space?
Right. In the handyman space, right? The #1 handyman podcast in the world. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. It sounds great. So I'm going with it. You can sue me if you want, but you probably won't get anything. Okay. So yes, our podcast, the Handyman Success Podcast, check it out. The #1 handyman podcast. We think. Okay, there you go. Check it out. Handyman Success Podcast. You can listen to it wherever you listen to podcasts at, and you can also listen to it right here on YouTube. So we would highly recommend you check that out. Roy Erickson, who we were talking about earlier about the sales and estimating and commercial clients and things like that, or not commercial clients. Well, that was David, right? Roy Erickson, having conversation with customers to find out what their budget is, kind of. He also said that I spend time putting an estimate together and to find out that they only have 1/3 of what they really need to get the job done, whether they use me or not. Totally understand this, Roy. And again, I would strongly encourage you to, check out some of our sales coaching. Again, this is like, are you on their sales path or your sales path? And what that looks like. So the way that we do it and the way that we recommend is have like man-to-man conversations. One guy that we coach, what he does is he gives everyone an estimate right there, face to face. So like when he'll walk them through their house and then he'll give them a price right then and there. Like, this is what it's going to cost for this. This is what it's going to cost for this. And then he gets them to pay a deposit or, sign the contract right there. If needed, if it's a little bit more complicated, he'll go out to his truck, work up a quick jotting of an estimate in his truck. He'll go back in and actually talk to them face to face. This helps in many different ways because, for one, if you just go home and, write up your estimate on Handyman Champion and then send it to them and just wait to hear back, they may ghost you and you just may never, ever get another opportunity to ever talk to them again. And you don't know if the price was wrong. You don't know, if you had BO when you were walking through the house. Like, you don't know what the issue was because you can't actually talk to them. So what we always do is we have face-to-face conversations, or we do it mainly over the phone. So we deliver, before we ever spend time working up an actual nuts and bolts estimate, with our sales process, we've kind of figured out a way where we can come up with a pretty quick estimate over the phone and actually deliver it to them right then. And then that helps too, because like, let's say, they have a whole list of items and you give them a price of $1,000 and they say, that was way more than what I was thinking. Okay, well, what were you kind of thinking? What do you got to work with here? Well, actually, I got about $300. It's like, oh, okay, no problem. Like, we would still love to help you out. Like, it's been great, like, getting to know you and talking about these projects. Do you mind if we kind of have a conversation based around that? Like what our work would look like, within your budget? Would that be okay? And then, yeah, that's fine. So $300, like, we could definitely help you out with this. But for $300, it looks like we could do A, B, and C, right? And we won't be able to do, D through G, right? Those are things that we'll have to do maybe next time. And just have like a face-to-face conversation with them. Be like, I love you. I think you love me, right? You're still talking to me. And it gives you that opportunity to continue that conversation rather than just sending the estimate with Handyman Champion and never hearing back, right? Because someone has said to themselves, $1,000, like I don't have $1,000, but they never get back to you because most people are scared to tell you no. That's at the end of the day what it is. So that's kind of my 2 cents on it. Jason, do you have any further thoughts on that, guy?
Yeah, I think you just did. I mean, just being honest and truthful. And it's ultimately when someone doesn't have the budget to pay for your services, or at least as much as they would like, it's a tough conversation, right? Initially, it's a tough conversation. And it just leads back to this. One of my favorite quotes in life and business is your ability to have hard conversations with truth and honesty and integrity directly correlates to the success of you as a person and you as a business owner. And so Alan had a great framework there of like having a truthful but kind of hard conversation at first. It becomes normal. Having hard conversations becomes easy, right? It's like a muscle that you work out. So when someone has 1/3 of the budget to actually pay, you can get used to like having that honest resetting of like, okay, can we have a conversation about that? I'd love to be able to help you. We could do this, this, and this, but we can't do all the other stuff. That's just, how we price these projects. Obviously a better way to say that, but you get the point that being honest and also confident in, I know I need to charge this. I still want to help this person. Is it okay if we help you with these items, but not these items? And they might say no. They might say, I really appreciate you being honest with me about that. I'd love to have you do these things. They might tell you to shove off. I'll go hire someone on Facebook Marketplace for $30 an hour. It doesn't matter because you've said your truth and you've given them the opportunity to make a decision. And it becomes easier to have those conversations when you have confidence in your pricing and you start to develop this sales muscle of kind of working those conversations. Let's see. Richard McGuire did reply, as far as interviewing and finding new techs, I need to start finding people that are here to make a difference and not just for a paycheck. Absolutely. I think hiring people that want to be a part of something, not saying you're going to take them to the moon with a huge, going public in your company or whatnot, but being part of something that makes them feel appreciated and valued in their work and as a coworker. I think that's a really good thing to be looking for. All right, guys, looks like I'm closing us out. Thank you guys so much for joining us on the live today. We do this every 2 weeks. So we'll be back. I don't know the dates there. You can do the math. 2 weeks from today, Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific time. Bring your problems, bring your questions. We're always here in the Facebook group as well. Give us a tag. We are here to help and serve you guys in the handyman industry. Our new Handyman Success podcast episode is dropping tomorrow. And I will say it's amongst my personal favorites with a man named John Sanders of Dakota Small Jobs. Just if you want to learn about a handyman business, if you want to learn about a story, if you want to learn about leadership, it was just a fantastic episode. I'm really excited. I'm going to re-listen to it myself. So part 1 will drop tomorrow. So do tune into that on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever. You can learn more about me and Alan at handymansuccess.net. I'll plug you into all the stuff that we do, from webinars and trainings, these live videos, our professional services to the handyman industry, from marketing to coaching. But thank you guys again for joining us. 2 weeks, we'll be here again. Have a great day.